Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my videos. Gonna be giving you my starting 11 prediction for our game against AC Milan in the Europa League round of 16 first leg. So in goal, Dean Henderson. Obviously David De Gea is not available at the moment, he's out due to personal reasons. So Dean Henderson's going to get a run of games. Dean Henderson was obviously in goal for the game against City, and I thought he did very well. Made some good aerial claims and also made some good saves in the City game. But he's done well in all the games he's played in this season. I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one because he has got that experience behind him. He did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United. Before the start of this season, he signed a 6-year contract with Man United, so he committed his future with the club. Now, narratives came out a few weeks ago saying that Dean Henderson threatened to quit Man United if he's not assured the number one role. We revealed our asking price, it was £40 million. A few clubs have been interested. Solskjaer admitted earlier on this season that it's becoming more and more difficult to leave Dean Henderson out of the side. At right back, I'm going to go with Wan-Bissaka. I thought Wan-Bissaka did very well in the game against Man City. Dealt with Sterling a few times. Defensively quite good and got forward quite well. Wan-Bissaka has improved because there has been some games this season where he's showed good attacking intent, he's got in good positions and he's put good crosses into the box. This is his second full season at Manchester United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. The two centre-halves, I'm going to go with Eric Bailly and Harry Maguire. I think Eric Bailly has done well in the games he's played in this season. You know, he can intercept the ball well. He shows the ability to play out from the back. He's also effective in the air. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. I think we're set to hold talks with Eric Bailly regarding his future. The last time I read up it said we're willing to offer him a new deal. And Harry Maguire, I've got to say, I thought he put a very good performance out against Man City. Probably one of his best performances in a Manchester United shirt. You know, I thought he got forward well. He made some very good clearances. Won some good headers. Harry Maguire just needs to perform like that persistently. You know, he's had good games, but he's also had bad games. Harry Maguire wasn't worth the £80 million that we got him for. We certainly overpaid for him, but we've overpaid for quite a few players in recent years. Harry Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and he's the second most expensive signing at the club. At left back, I'm going to go with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's been the player of the season by far. You know, Luke Shaw gets forward really well. He creates chances for his teammates, his crossing's good, and defensively he's been superb. Luke Shaw scored our second goal in the 2-0 win against Man City, and he put a very good performance out against Man City. Shaw's had a good career at Manchester United apart from the injuries, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. In the midfield, I'm going to go with Fred and Scott McTominay. Fred, I think he's really, really improved. You know, when Fred plays well, he can pass the ball well, he can get forward, he can close down. Fred has been at the club now a few years. We got him in a deal worth £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk a few years ago. I don't think Fred's at that level as we want him to be at as yet, but I think he can emulate into that level. You know, if he can perform good persistently. I've got to say though, Fred was an exceptional player during his time in Ukraine. As for McTominay, I think he's a decent player. He's enjoyed very good games this season. Probably his best game this season was the 6-2 win against Leeds, because McTominay scored twice in that game and he also got an assist. McTominay is not at the level as we want him to be at as yet, but I think he can emulate into that level. You know, McTominay's still young, he's got a lot of development in him. Was it just after the first lockdown last year? McTominay signed a 5-year contract, so he committed his future with the club. In front of Fred and McTominay, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes. Now, I do think at some point Bruno Fernandes does need a rest because he's played a hell of a lot of games. But earlier on this season, Bruno Fernandes denied that he needed a rest because he wants to help the club win trophies. Fernandes obviously played against Man City. He scored from the penalty spot. It was at the beginning of the game. And he put a good performance out. In most of Bruno Fernandes' games, he's been very, very consistent. But there's also been a few games where he has looked off the pace. He's definitely our best player, and he's the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Fernandes has won Player of the Month now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. I think we're willing to double his wages to £200,000 a week. He said earlier on this season that we were 3 months into contract talks with Fernandes. But yet he said on his 12-month anniversary that he was planning on spending many years at the club. But I can assure he has made the difference in the team. He predominantly plays as a number 10. On the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Daniel James. Daniel James has played a lot of games recently. I'm surprised in that aspect because Daniel James was obviously out of the team for a while, wasn't playing very much. And at one point, there was narratives of possibly Daniel James leaving the club. But I've actually been very, very impressed with him since he started playing a lot more. We got Daniel James, was it in a deal worth £18 million from Swansea? At one point, he was very, very close to joining Leeds. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Mason Greenwood. Got to say, I've been very, very impressed with Mason Greenwood since he broke into the first team squad. You know, Mason Greenwood made his debut back in 2019. Greenwood has been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7. He's made 80-odd first-team appearances. Earlier on this season, Mason Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with Man United. And I said he deserved a new contract reflecting on his good performances. He's done well recently despite scoring. Solskjaer has defended Greenwood a lot this season. Earlier on this season, didn't really have much of a perception on Greenwood. Because obviously he was in and out of the team. Because at one point he had personal issues. One point he had illness. And at one point he was out with injury. At the start of this season, we give Mason Greenwood that number 11 shirt. And up top, I'm going to go with Anthony Martial. Anthony Martial put a very, very good performance out in the 2-0 win against Man City. He had 2 fantastic chances in that game. Should have converted at least one of them. Martial has actually just come back from injury. And by the way, Martial won the penalty, didn't he? In the game against Man City, because he got brought down by Gabriel Jesus. But Solskjaer came out and said that he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate. And he said he rediscovered himself in the game against City. Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club now over 5 years. But with how he performed against Man City, them performances have got to persist. You know, you can't just do it for one game and then be out of form, because he has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. So anyway, that's how I think we could line up against AC Milan. Now, I'll just give you some news on Marcus Rashford. Now, I think Rashford has had the scan on his ankle. It turns out there's no ligament damage on his ankle. It's just bruised and swollen. But Sky Sports have said that he's still a doubt for this game against AC Milan. Rashford obviously came off with an ankle injury against Man City. You know, it's not as severe though as we first thought, which is good news from a Man United perspective. Could be involved in the game. Rashford is a very, very good player. You know, when he plays well, he can get good runs in behind. He can cause problems for the opposition defence. He can create chances and he can score very good goals. We just need to keep Marcus Rashford out on the left, because that's where he's more effective. You know, we've played him on the right wing before. Don't think he's that good there. And we've played him up top a few times, and I don't think he's very effective centrally. Rashford has been a United player since the age of 7. And he's been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then has become an integral part of our team. Now, Edison Cavani, he didn't play any part against Man City. I think he's been out with injury. He actually missed 4 games in a row not so long ago because of a muscle injury. You know, Cavani could be involved in this game. Now, like I updated you earlier on today, Man United are set to hold talks with Edison Cavani regarding his future. Reports in Argentina have said that Cavani has decided to leave Man United in the summer after just a season. He wants to join Boca Juniors on a 3-year contract. So he wants to go back to South America. And he's willing to take a pay cut. So Cavani has rejected the contract extension at Man United. Now, earlier on this season, there was narratives coming out saying that Cavani wanted to stay at Man United beyond this season. And Solskjaer said he was set for contract extension talks. But Cavani's made a fantastic impact since his coming. He's scored goals. Scored, 7 goals in 25 games. He creates chances well. His hold-up play is good. And his movement in and out of the box is very good. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. But he is, 34 years of age now. Donnie Van Der Beek. He's obviously out injured at the moment. I think he is a doubt for this game. You know, Donnie Van Der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. You know, when Donnie Van Der Beek's played, most of his appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Solskjaer made an admission earlier on this season saying that Donnie Van Der Beek is unhappy at the club because of his lack of game time, but Solskjaer promised him more game time at the club. He said from ESPN back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Donnie Van Der Beek. You know, because we was reluctant to let him go. We got him in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons, and he's got a contract with the club until 2025. Paul Pogba, he's a doubt for this game. I can honestly say I can't wait till Paul Pogba returns because he has been a big miss. Before we got this thigh injury, we was getting the best out of Paul Pogba. And we do lack creativeness in that midfield without him. Now, it said not so long ago that Solskjaer had set a new Paul Pogba return date. And Ole is hopeful that Paul Pogba will return before the March international break. Earlier on this season, Pogba had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. Now, there was narratives coming out the other week saying that Paul Pogba is open to staying at Man United after making a transfer U-turn and he's willing to discuss a new contract. Solskjaer suggested earlier on this season that Paul Pogba could sign a new contract, and he did say that he is happy at the club. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. But he has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and Juventus have been in for him, his former club. He endured 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Man United. Said a few weeks ago we revealed our asking price. It was £100 million. Mino Raiola said earlier on this season he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United. And he did make an admission saying that he was working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Because Mino Raiola's been criticised a few times and he doesn't have a good relationship with the club. Back in December, he made an announcement regarding Paul Pogba. And obviously Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. But as it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing. We paid £89 million for him. Mata's obviously out with injury. Mata doesn't even get in our team anyway. And Phil Jones, he's obviously still out with injury. He's been out with injury for over a year. This will be a tough game against AC Milan. You know, AC Milan are second in the Serie A. You know, their current manager is Stefano Pioli. AC Milan have won the Champions League 7 times. This is going to be the first time we'll be playing AC Milan since 2010. We did play them in the Champions League round of 16 back in the 2009-10 season. It was 7-2 on aggregate. You know, we're beating them at the San Siro 3-2 and we're beating them 4-0 at Old Trafford. We've played AC Milan on 10 occasions in the Champions League. 5 wins apiece. AC Milan's last win at Old Trafford was back in the 2004-05 season. Now AC Milan, they've obviously got Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Obviously he's a former Manchester United player. Stefano Pioli is hopeful that Zlatan Ibrahimovic will be available for this game because he's actually been out with injury. So it'll be good to see him reunite with Man United. I thought Ibrahimovic was very, very good for us. Don't forget, at the time we got him on a free transfer from PSG. Ibrahimovic did sustain a bad injury at Man United. That's what obviously ruined his Man United career. AC Milan have also got Hakan Çalhanoğlu. We've inquired about his availability before. Çalhanoğlu is out with injury at the moment. They've also got Mandzukic. He's out with injury at the moment, but they could be back for this game. We once went in for Mandzukic. I think went in for him when he was at Juventus. They've also got Rebic. Rebic is out with injury at the moment. They've got Tonali. They've got Donnarumma, who is a very, very good goalkeeper. There was narratives coming out a few weeks ago saying that we're actually looking at Donnarumma as a possible replacement for De Gea. They've also got Diego Dalot. He's actually on loan at Milan from Man United. Will Dalot be able to play in this game? I'm not too sure. Yeah, so Milan have got some very, very good players. You know, that could cause us problems. But yeah, it is on Thursday. 5 to 6 kick-off at Old Trafford. The second leg at the San Siro is on the 18th of March. AC Milan progressed to the last 16 by obviously beating Red Star in the previous round, and we progressed to the last 16 by obviously beating Real Sociedad in the previous round 4-0. But it will be interesting to see how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approaches this game. We'll be coming into this game with a lot of confidence because we recently had a very, very good win against Man City. You know, beating them 2-0. You know, the result wasn't only good, the performance was very, very good. We ended Manchester City's 21-match winning run. We are now 22 unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. So, that's good. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. Solskjaer has admitted that we are still too far behind Man City to be in the title race. Despite us beating City, we are still 11 points behind them. But we know we're not going to win the Premier League, so obviously top 4 is our aim, and I can almost assure that we are going to finish in the top 4. But top 4 is not guaranteed yet. You know, we needed that win against Man City because prior to the City game, we'd drawn our last 3 games 0-0. But I like the way Solskjaer approached that game against Man City. You know, I wasn't expecting that, to be honest with you, because Solskjaer's been tactically naive in a lot of his games, especially in a lot of the big games. We've got to perform like we did against City persistently. You know, it's no good doing it for one game and then performing bad for the next 4 or 5 or 6 games. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the Europa League's definitely a priority for Man United because it is a chance for us getting a trophy on the board. I think actually, aren't we one of the favourites to win it? I think AC Milan are one of the favourites to win it. You know, we got to the Europa League semi-final last season, lost 2-1 to Sevilla. We won the Europa League back in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. You know, we beaten Ajax in the final 2-0. And Solskjaer's got to win a trophy at Man United to avoid the sack. because he hasn't won a trophy yet, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. A club of our stature need to be winning trophies. The FA Cup is also a chance of a trophy, but the game against Leicester in the quarter-final is going to be a difficult game. Our next game in the league is West Ham. You know, is that on Sunday? That's going to be a tough game as well, because West Ham are definitely playing well this season. They've exceeded expectations. West Ham are in a position that you wouldn't have expected them to be in. You know, they are in the top 4 race. I don't think West Ham will get it, because I don't think they're good enough. Like I've said to you, this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer. The 2 priorities is a new centre-back and a new forward. I think a forward is the top priority for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer gave us an update on our transfer plans for the summer transfer window. He said he's only interested in bringing in players that would be a perfect fit for the club. Not so long ago, he sent a transfer warning to Man United fans, saying we won't be very active in the summer transfer window due to the coronavirus pandemic. But the board have got to back him in the summer transfer window, because I think the transfer windows Solskjaer's endured so far, he hasn't been backed enough. And he's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. You know, Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ollie, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Our board have got a soft stance on Solskjaer, with him being a club legend. Yes, Solskjaer's made some good signings. You know, he's spent around £260 million at the club, but as yet, he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. But the board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years. Main explanations is reflecting now poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players, and none of the managers have been backed enough. But I think they'll back him in the summer. You know, the board back Solskjaer anyway, because Woodward recently did a statement saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. That was after our latest financial figure results. It had said our net debt had risen up to 455.5 million. Yeah. You know. But a newer contract is incoming for Solskjaer. So he's here to stay. I think Man United are set to hand him a new 3-year deal. He actually said earlier on this season that Solskjaer's future was in doubt, because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him over a new contract. Ollie's into the final 18 months of his current contract at the club. But despite the winning that against Man City, I still don't think he's the long-term manager for Man United. You know, don't get me wrong, he deserves at least until May. Probably deserves at least another season at the club. He's been here over 2 years. You know, if we can win a trophy this season and finish second, I'll turn around and say that represents a good season for Man United. That gives us something to build on going on into next season. But yeah, Solskjaer's gained managerial experience reflecting how long he's been at the club, and he has learnt quite a bit on the job. You know, to say he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, I think he has done quite well. And we've got to credit him in quite a few aspects, you know. We're second in the Premier League. At one point, Solskjaer got us top of the league for the first time in 7.5 years. Winning the FA Cup quarters, winning the Europa League last 16. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. Also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in, and I'm expecting more players to leave Man United in the summer. Like I said, there's a good chance Mata will leave in the summer. Matic could be offloaded in the summer. You know, De Gea could be sold in the summer, willing to listen to offers for him. I want Jones to leave. I'm expecting Romero to leave. So yeah, we sell players in the summer, will generate money, and in that aspect that'll help us with our rebuilding process. And we've got a fantastic away record in the Premier League. So yeah. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.